Slammed it in, Jerome!
Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it. It's a touchdown.
Whitburn, that's a long ways. They won it on the dunk.
Oh, that's awesome, baby, with a count of the leg.
The Bears have won. Oh, my God. The most amazing.
Michelle Snow goes for the dunk, and she throws it down.
One man. Oh, my goodness. Hello, Heisman. Jordan, look at that. Holy cow.
Hello, I'm Chris Fowler for College SportsCentury. Thursday night, January 3rd, undefeated Miami will play for the national championship against Nebraska in the Rose Bowl. Opposite the Cornhuskers Heisman winner, Eric Crouch, is the man who should be one of the favorites to win the trophy next year, Miami quarterback Ken Dorsey. With the release that matches his mind, which is to say quick, and a competitive spirit that's enabled the Hurricanes to win 25 of the 26 games he started, Dorsey is the latest in a long and proud quarterback tradition. He's the first Miami quarterback to throw 50 career touchdown passes, and he's only a junior.
The image of Miami football from the 80s and 90s was a brash group of guys who didn't care what anyone thought. They were going to do their own thing. They were going to get penalties. They were going to intimidate people.
This program played up the outlaw image. They had that game against Texas in the Cotton Bowl where they have 200 yards of penalties and still end up, crushing Texas, and they didn't care.
Amid federal charges of Pell Grant fraud and other infractions, the NCAA lowered the boom on Miami in 1995. Citing a lack of institutional control, it penalized the Hurricanes with scholarship reductions, 3 seasons probation, and a 1-year ban from appearing in a bowl game. To help clean up Miami's act and image, Butch Davis, the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator and a former Hurricanes assistant, was hired as head coach in January of 1995.
Butch walked into a terrible situation where they were facing probation and lost 31 scholarships. He weeded out the bad eggs out of the program. He did it his way.
When you look at the depth that the great Miami teams had, we had great depth, great speed all over the football field. When they went in the probation years, they lost a lot of scholarships and they lost a lot of depth.
Although the entire football program suffered under the NCAA sanctions, the most noticeable hole was at quarterback, where a rich Miami lineage that included Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, Vinny Testaverde, Steve Walsh, Craig Erickson, and Gino Torretta yearned for an heir to lead them back to greatness.
One of the great things about University of Miami is their tradition and the history. And one of the hardest things about University of Miami is the history and tradition. They judge University of Miami quarterbacks like pro quarterbacks. They get treated, scrutinized, destroyed in the press, just like a pro quarterback.
The tradition the University of Miami has had over the years is unmatched. It's quarterback you, and all of a sudden, maybe one of the best to ever play at the University of Miami, Ken Dorsey's there now.
In 2000, Dorsey's sophomore season, the Hurricanes were poised to return to full force after 5 straight finishes out of the top 10. Off to a 3-1 start, they hoped to upset number 1 Florida State. Late in the game, Miami was ahead 20-17 when the Seminoles took the air out of a packed Orange Bowl.
Winky down the middle, got a man. Touchdown! Eddie Cruz Bell!
The best team in the country, with the Heisman Trophy winner on the other side of the ball, had just stunned Miami by taking the lead. The game's in the quarterback's hands now.
I'm doing the sideline for that game. I see backs of everybody looking at the playing field, and the coaches are huddled together. And on the bench is Kenny Dorsey, all by himself, just sitting there.
I told myself I'm not going to bother Ken. He's got a lot going on. There's a few minutes to go, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go up to him. I said, hey bro, you're playing a great game. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm sure you know it. But you got to be prepared for a 2-minute drill. And I tell him this. He goes, I got it.
We've seen the poise of Ken Dorsey today. This is it right now. The game is on the line.
If Ken Dorsey knew that he was going to lead Miami to victory on that drive to end that game, Ken Dorsey was the only one in that stadium who knew it.
Here's Dorsey, 1st and 10.
Plenty of time left for a minute 32.
Dorsey Santana circles right, will try and get out of bounds.
I didn't say anything. It's just they kind of saw my face. I was so confident in what we were going to do, and I think that kind of carried over to those guys and made them more confident in themselves.
It all came to him like breathing. It was all reflex. It was like something out of the Matrix movie where Keanu Reeves figures out, yeah, I am the one.
Dorsey and Reggie Bland to 33.
He found second and third receivers, kept the drives alive, moved the chains, had the presence of mind to be able to orchestrate the thing from the shotgun, calling plays at the line of scrimmage.
He was just calling the routes out. No one was freaking out like we had to score, you know, it was real calm.
The thing that just kind of stands out the most is the one incompletion on that drive. I overthrew Reggie in the end zone. He was wide open, and I missed it.
And he's the type of person that if he does something wrong, he'll smack his hands right away. He's like, that's my fault. He's going to correct himself as quick as possible.
3rd and 4. Dorsey down the middle, man. First and goal at the 7-yard line.
It seemed like he could have led him like 200 yards down the field. It was total precision.
King and Moss left. Dorsey back. As time goes into the end zone. Touchdown! Shocking the backup pressure.
He threw that strike in there, and I remember seeing him lifting his hand. I was like, yes, we finally got one.
49 yards for the tie. He's got the distance. He does not have the kick. Miami has won.
After FSU's last-second field goal attempt failed, the Hurricanes were undeniably reinstalled among college football's elite.
Everybody kept on saying, is Miami back? Is Miami back? And until the Florida State game, the answer was no.
That last drive was his defining moment, and it really put him on the map as people saying, wow, Ken Dorsey, he really fits in with the great mold of Miami quarterbacks.
Here's your large pizza and free Cinna sticks.
Thanks. Hey guys, our large pizza's here. And the Domino's guy said the Cinna sticks are free. Then he said, I have to eat them all. Right in front of him. Or they wouldn't be free.
He's not allowed to get the door anymore.
Topped with cinnamon sugar and served with creamy icing, it's Domino's freshly baked Cinna sticks. Get a free order when you buy any large one-topping pizza for $9.99. Call now. Get the door. It's Domino's.
Do you need to know how to operate a computer? Hi, I'm John Scheer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. It seems like everywhere I go these days, somebody is recognizing me as the Video Professor. You know, that's because we've been teaching people how to operate computers for over 14 years now. You know, our product is quick, it's easy to learn with, and you can try it for free. You know, over the years, millions of people have learned how to run their computer using our product. We get happy letters and emails every day thanking us. Albert emails us, I have to say, you have by far the best learning tool I have ever seen. And Debbie from Florida writes, the lessons are just what I was looking for to help me pursue my career goals. But the most rewarding thing for me is having people stop me on the street and tell me just how easy it was for them to learn to run their computer using our product. They've tried expensive classes, they've tried big, thick manuals, they couldn't get it. If you just want to learn how to run a computer once and for all, save yourself a lot of time, a lot of energy, try my product. Let me show you how easy this is. Put your CD in the CD tray, your lesson will come up. The lesson plays right on your computer. It works just like a VCR. You have a play button, pause, rewind, fast forward. Just follow the step-by-step instruction. You know, I'm so confident my product will work for you. I'm going to send it to you absolutely free. Compare this to a lesson costing $60. You just pay a small shipping and handling. The reason I'm going to do this is because I know that once you try my product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. And if this doesn't teach you how to run a computer, I'll even refund your shipping and handling. So what do you got to lose? Try my product.
Call Video Professor now for your free lesson. Choose from Windows, Word, Quicken, the Internet, and many more. Call in the next 10 minutes, and this free gift will be yours. The Anytime Organizer is the calendar, diary, address book, and journal on your PC, so you'll never miss an appointment again. Remember, you must call now to get your free CD and the extra free gift. So don't delay. Call now.
Call 1-800-243-2158.
I think I'm the most boring human being on the planet. Easily.
Dorsey's not a guy who walks around thinking about losing games. He walks around with sort of a goofy smile, sort of an Alfred E. Newman look about him.
Certainly not out at the campus bars drinking and eating chicken wings with the offensive lineman. He's at home with his girlfriend. It's atypical quarterback behavior.
I'm not real big on going out, and neither is he. A typical evening is mainly just sitting around watching football or just anything on TV.
I just kind of like sitting at home. That's what I've done ever since I've grown up. I'm not getting changed now. I'm not a wild type of guy.
Well, I think he's just wired differently. He's kind of analytical in a sense, but everything about him, I think, is geared towards football. When it comes right down to it, he's more interested in, how to beat a 3-deep zone than he is where he's going to go on Friday night.
Kenny is kind of schizophrenic in a way. He's a really laid-back kind of guy, but you get him in a competitive situation, and he's almost like a different person.
I remember he threw an interception. He came off the field, nearly in tears. He was so angry with himself about it.
He's one of the most competitive people I know. He can't stand to lose. And if he does lose, he's the type of kid that if you're playing basketball and he loses, he'll definitely take his ball home and say, that's it, no more games.
Ken Dorsey had developed a will to win at the hands of his older brother in the backyard of their home in Orinda, California.
I was kind of a mean kid. We would go out and play basketball, and I would not let him score a point if I could help it.
Adam would not let Kenny win at anything. I think Adam had a big impact on Kenny in terms of his competitive nature.
Adam, he used to beat me up every day. Every day. This is what happened every day.
In the years following those backyard battles, Adam became his younger brother's biggest fan. He has traveled by air, road, or rail to every game Ken has played since he was a sophomore at Miramonte High School.
When Ken decided to come to the University of Miami, Adam decided he wanted to be closer to his brother. So he picks Florida State.
Adam gets in no shortage of trouble walking the Florida State campus with all his University of Miami gear. Sort of an odd juxtaposition there. The quarterback's brother is the biggest fan of the University of Miami you're probably going to find anywhere in Tallahassee.
It couldn't be more natural. It's more just kind of, we can be close to each other. I can go down there when I want to, and we're both kind of getting what we need out of the universities.
To have him here for every single game, and after the games being able to see him and just knowing he's in the stands is the best feeling.
The Dorsey brothers' bond was forged when their parents divorced in 1989. Ken was in the 3rd grade.
I would go back and forth between houses, which was tough sometimes.
Apparently he's been pretty scarred by the divorce of his parents, because I asked him one time what were the happiest 30 minutes of his life. His answer was just a picnic with my brother and me and my mom and dad, and we did something on Whiskey Lake as a family.
Whenever there was an occasion where both the parents could be together, he was always promoting that, so I knew it affected him.
The kids are the most important things in our lives. Tom and I made a decision early on that we would be there to support those boys. And we are very good friends, and the boys always knew that.
Finding a home in sports, Dorsey excelled early at basketball, soccer, and baseball. But it wasn't until he entered high school that football appeared on the horizon.
Seemed like he could throw forever. His arm just never got tired. He just threw and threw and threw, and he could throw deep, and he was very accurate.
Every lunch period, he would be in the head football coach's office or learning football. And how many times that I'd be over there, he'd just ask, hey, would you sit down and go over coverages and things with me? He just was a sponge to be a great player.
As a junior, Dorsey was the starting quarterback. In 1997 and 1998, he threw for 62 touchdowns and more than 6,000 yards as he led the Matadors to a 24-2 record.
When Kenny was here, our offensive line would run through a wall if Kenny said do it. And that's how people respect him and the type of leader that he was.
After the games, you go up and interview him. He didn't want to talk about his 300-yard game or how many touchdowns he threw. He always would end every conversation with, okay, hey, drive home safely.
Sought nationally, Dorsey narrowed down dozens of offers to Miami, USC, and Tennessee.
He's a very independent guy. He made his own mind up by listening to people, talking to people, and decided that Miami was the right place for him.
When I came to visit here, it just had such a great tradition and such a family atmosphere. All the coaches came up, introduced themselves to me and my mom. You can all tell that they were all happy that I was there.
Arriving on campus in the summer of 1999, Dorsey not only stood out at 6'5" and 180 pounds, he raised questions about his durability.
First day that he got here, they brought him and some other freshmen to interview with the media. Dorsey came in. The first thing, you couldn't help but notice how skinny he was.
We told him he had, nobody could take food from him. And he had to eat as much as possible at training table, just scarf the food down.
I was asked to go address the freshmen. I just asked the question point blank when I said, how many of you guys are ready to start today at the University of Miami? And the only hand that goes up is some skinny kid. I mean, he looks like he should be on the cover of Geek Weekly. And he has that whole freshman class looking at him. And right there, I think everybody in that group bought into Kenny Dorsey.
The University of Miami is one hit away from playing a true freshman quarterback for the first time in 5 years. Coach Bush Davis made it official. Ken Dorsey, who started in Saturday's first scrimmage, has been elevated to second team.
The adjustments he made in the scrimmage, picking up blitzes of our own defense, and he hit receivers that people didn't expect him to hit, and we had a feeling right then that this is the kid for the future.
All this month, nobody takes you inside the Sundance Film Festival like Sundance Channel and AT&T Broadband. Meet the filmmakers of tomorrow today with daily updates from Park City, Utah. Watch our exclusive live coverage of the Sundance Film Festival Awards show and see world television premieres and breakout films from past festivals. Go inside. Watch Sundance Channel on AT&T Digital Cable today.
You're in charge of the next corporate bash, and you need a guaranteed good time for everybody without depleting the expense account. Hollywood Star Lanes is the answer. Just off the 101 freeway on Santa Monica Boulevard, it's a great time for everyone. From leagues to a family night out to a company shindig, big or small, Hollywood Star Lanes has been making bowling fun for 40 years. We've got the state-of-the-art in auto scoring, a cocktail lounge, an arcade, and even bumper bowling for the kids. Hollywood Star Lanes, it's all here.
Brendan, Dominic, and the high-flying Wings defend Hockeytown against Paul Correa and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Western Conference Feathers Fly on ESPN Wednesday Night Hockey. Ducks at Red Wings, 8 Eastern tonight on ESPN.
This is Eddie George of the Tennessee Titans. Eddie helps the United Way build stronger communities by supporting programs that create safer neighborhoods.
Come on, guys.
On the field, Eddie's work ethic is contagious. On the football field, it's contagious.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Slackers.
Pressure from the outside and a pass thrown behind Fulcher. McKelly took a pretty good shot.
As a freshman, Ken Dorsey was thrust into the spotlight when he replaced injured quarterback Kenny Kelly against number 2 ranked Virginia Tech. He faced what proved to be an insurmountable task.
In the huddle, I'm just like looking at this guy, and he's like stuttering through the play calling, and I'm just like, man, we're in for a beating.
The true freshman scrambling, rolling to his right, hit as he throws, and it falls to the ground, incomplete. Corey Moore got a hand at his face and knocked him down.
He wet the bed. I mean, you can't play quarterback that way. You can't, and he'll tell you so himself. He just wasn't ready. You can't play quarterback scared.
Dorsey's baptism under fire was a disaster, completing just 6 of 17 passes. He also threw an interception in the 43-10 loss.
I didn't understand the speed of the game. I didn't understand, how fast things move. Everything after that seemed a little slower because that was just so fast and so furious.
While Kelly recovered, Dorsey quickly got up to college speed. He led the Hurricanes to victory in their last 3 regular season games and proved instrumental in their gaining an invitation to the Gator Bowl.
Once Kenny Kelly got hurt, it really opened the door for Ken Dorsey. He played amazingly well. In his 3 starts, he had over 700 yards passing and 9 touchdowns. And there were a lot of people in this community who were saying, why isn't Ken Dorsey the starter?
5 days before the Gator Bowl against Georgia Tech, Coach Butch Davis announced that Kelly would start, but Dorsey was told he would also get playing time.
I think Kelly had more problem with it than Dorsey did, because Kelly thought it was his job and figured that the starter shouldn't be sharing snaps with a kid who didn't have his experience.
In the Gator Bowl game, Kenny Kelly played okay, not real well. Dorsey came in and threw a touchdown pass and kind of looked like the Ken Dorsey that had won the 3 previous games.
Dorsey fakes the handoff, throws right side of the end zone, and it's caught by Wade. Touchdown, Hurricanes!
And after the game, Butch says that the job would be open starting spring practice.
But instead of competing for the job, Kelly opted to play minor league baseball in the Tampa Bay Devil Rays organization, opening the way for Dorsey.
Kenny Kelly was wise enough to realize that he wasn't keeping Kenny Dorsey off the bench. You may be able to throw the ball a little farther than him. You might be able to bench press a little more than him, but you are not going to outsmart Kenny Dorsey.
Despite the promise of his late season performance as a freshman, there remained some doubts about Dorsey's ability to play under pressure.
They had a half dozen guys that you could see as NFL first-round picks in the program. The biggest question mark was Ken Dorsey.
Everything was in place except the quarterback's unproven. And that was tough for me because I've never been in that circumstance before.
After the Hurricanes opened by hammering McNeese State 61-14, Dorsey was tested when Miami traveled west to play Washington.
The crowd was so loud. It's the loudest I've probably heard it in Husky Stadium since I've been there.
Dorsey goes down, backpedaling, second time today that's happened.
There's just something about playing on the road.
The person who seemed to suffer the most at Husky Stadium was Ken Dorsey, who was making his first big-time start. He was discombobulated on the field.
Final score, 34-29. So it's an upset. Number 15 picks off number 4.
After the game, you see him in the locker room, and he's dejected, and he feels responsible for the entire loss.
Everybody made mistakes, but Kenny took it to heart that he was the reason we lost the game.
I just wanted to talk to him after that Washington game. And he made the exact same mistake that I made my very first play in college. I was at Gainesville. And I audibled to a pass, just like he audibled to a pass. I one-hopped it, he one-hopped it.
It doesn't happen very often when you can relate an experience you have to pretty much an exact same experience, a guy before you has. Just knowing that it made my opportunity to bounce back a lot easier.
I think that loss was one of the best things that ever happened to Kenny Dorsey, because if you keep winning, life is merry and it's hard to find your faults. But, he looked in the mirror and he says, I've got to get better.
As Dorsey improved, so did Miami. The Hurricanes averaged 39 points and went 10-1. Yet despite a number 2 ranking in the polls and a victory over Florida State, they were shut out of the BCS title game against number 1 Oklahoma, and were forced to settle for the Sugar Bowl against Florida.
But Dorsey looks back the other way, and he's got his tight end, Jeremy Shockey.
Dorsey threw for 270 yards and 3 touchdowns to earn Most Outstanding Player honors in a 37-20 victory. But few could have predicted what would happen next.
Ocean's 11 is the coolest, pure fun. It's contagious. 2 thumbs up. You're either in or you're out. Ocean's 11, rated PG-13. Now play.
Winter X Game 6 announcement, sponsored by Taco Bell, begins February 1st on ESPN.
Some see in 8-foot walls a not-so-subtle message to keep out. 4. Others see it as a minor obstacle to an invigorating day at the course. Here you go. Oh! That it's good! The perfect accompaniment to such an outing, Taco Bell. For a little green, you can indulge in great tasting, high-quality fare no matter who you are.
Excuse me, young man.
Think I'll play through.
Hey!
Score a crunchy taco and bean burrito together, just 98 cents. Now with better beef, beans, and tortillas. For a tasty deal, think outside the bun.
On the next SportsCenter flashback, Kerrigan, Harding.
The story was too bizarre to be true.
Flashback 8 years to one of figure skating's darkest moments. SportsCenter Flashback, Kerrigan and Harding, 8 Eastern Sunday on ESPN Classic.
For more than 8 decades, they've been playing at the Rose Bowl, the one they call the granddaddy of them all. But only twice has number 1 met number 2. At the end of this season, it's Miami and Nebraska, the Rose Bowl for the national championship.
Butch Davis had a meeting after the Sugar Bowl with his team and said, you're going to hear a lot of things about me in the next few weeks. I want you to know that I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here next year, and we're going to win the national championship.
Just a few days after reportedly telling a high-profile recruit that he planned to retire at Miami, Davis embarked on his new career as head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
I was really shocked by Coach Davis' announcement leaving, going to the Browns, and I was given the job of interim head coach right after that announcement.
They all decided it was time to rally around the offensive coordinator, Larry Coker. Ken especially. Ken went to the athletic director with a bunch of other players and said, we need Larry Coker as our coach.
It's just an awesome honor and an awesome responsibility that's been given to me and now our staff to be the head coach of the University of Miami.
They've got a first-year offensive coordinator. They've got a first-year defensive coordinator, and they've got a first-year head coach. So basically, Ken Dorsey has more experience doing what he does than any of the coaching staff has at doing what they do.
What separates Kenny is his ability to think quickly and think accurately. He's one of the smartest college quarterbacks that I've been around in recent memory.
Dorsey with a rollout, end zone, touchdown. Jeremy Shockey spoke in the end zone today.
I love it when we come to a line and he makes an audible, because I don't think there's been an audible this year that hasn't at least gained 5 or more yards, be it run or pass.
He studies so much film that he knows the defense better than themselves. He'll know their weaknesses. He knows if a guy twitches his hand, if he's going to blitz or not.
Guys would be like, well, how do you read defenses and all that stuff? The moment I stepped on the field and started playing quarterback, it just kind of all flowed, and it just felt natural and felt like that was what I was supposed to do.
He's willing to go out there and do the extra. In between class, the break might be maybe 50 minutes. And he goes out there, he throw the ball for about 20, 25 minutes, go in, take a shower, and head off to the next class.
Ken, I still feel like he thinks people don't respect him. Before the Penn State game this year, someone asked him, well, you're playing again in front of a large crowd, and the last time you played in front of a crowd this big was against Washington, and you didn't do so well. And he goes into his pocket and he pulls out a headline from a newspaper that he had cut out and highlighted that said, Miami QB, impressive against weaker opponents.
Dorsey, wide open is Davenport, and he's going to score. Touchdown, Canes.
Dorsey auspiciously opened the 2001 season by throwing for 3 touchdowns in a 33-7 rout at Penn State. Then, on October 13th, Dorsey removed any doubt about his maturity when the Hurricanes went to Tallahassee and decisively ended the Seminoles' 54-game home unbeaten streak.
Dorsey, play fake, wants it all. Going to the end zone. Touchdown! Right in stride to Andre Johnson.
Dorsey's 23 touchdown passes and over 2,600 yards through the air led Miami to its first undefeated regular season in 9 years and a berth in the BCS title game against Nebraska. Despite the success, the junior management and marketing major says he'll be back for his senior season.
All these great quarterbacks at the University of Miami, Dorsey, by just a little more than half of his junior year, had thrown more touchdown passes than any of them.
He wants to be the next Johnny Unitas, the next Joe Montana. I mean, he wants to do great things with the football. He wants the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left against Florida State, down by 4. And that's what drives him. He doesn't want to do anything else but win.
Ken Dorsey is a football fanatic who has a collection of tapes of classic games, college and pro. And he has another video passion, a weakness for cartoons. In an effort to curb his viewing when he was younger, his mother would disconnect the cable, but he was always able to find where she hid it or produce another one. Quarterbacks, after all, are supposed to be resourceful. In the Rose Bowl, we'll see just how resourceful Dorsey can be in the biggest game of his life. For College Sports Century, I'm Chris Fowler.